good afternoon and welcome to Live Impact News right here on 13 News Now Plus. The day is Thursday, February 19th, 2026, 1 o'clock p.m. on the dot, and we have 2 hours of all of the most live, impactful breaking news for you here locally, nationally, and of course globally as well, coming up here on this Thursday. After that warm weather break that we had yesterday, the temperature lingering in a decent place, but the conditions outside I do believe have worsened. It is a bit foggy, it is dreary, it is cloudy out there in Hampton Roads. We'll have a weather forecast coming up for you here in just a little bit on Live Impact News. There's a live look outside as we speak, and you can see it just a layer of gloom sort of hanging out in the sky there. You can't see all the way off into the distance. Everything a bit gray and cloudy all around, a small amount of debris on our camera. That is just the type of day it is. Not those frigid temperatures, but still not a day where you're going to want to spend a whole lot of time outside. That will give way to some decent weather tomorrow, but for now, that's what we're working with. But we digress, because the person to break that all down will be in here in just a little bit, and that will be meteorologist Evan Stewart, who will be joining us to come here. First, let's go with one of our major headlines of the day. This one, international, actually, and it regards former Prince Andrew, now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and he has been arrested by British police on suspicion of misconduct, according to various reports, including ABC News. Now, again, this is the former Prince Andrew. He's the younger brother of King Charles, which would also make him the son of Queen Elizabeth, who has passed away, of course. And this arrest follows the emergence of documents detailing communication between Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. So yes, the Epstein files has been a major headline here in the United States of America for years, but especially over the course of the last few months, as pieces and portions of those files, of those emails, of those documents have been released to the public, of those images and videos have been released to the public. But it is not just the United States that is embroiled in that controversy. It is a global situation, including the United Kingdom, where former Prince Andrew, again, has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct, and this follows emergence of documents detailing communication between Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, former Prince Andrew has previously denied any wrongdoing with respect to Jeffrey Epstein. And Thomas Valley Police told ABC that it was assessing reports of alleged misconduct during the former Prince Andrew's time in office as a trade envoy. So we don't have concrete details on the reasoning behind this arrest. All we can do is continue to observe the circumstances surrounding the reported arrest of the former Prince Andrew. Now, this is a rare case when it comes to the royal family, the monarchy in Great Britain. No senior royals have been arrested in recent history. This is just not something that happens very often. The royal family, of course, very high standing in Great Britain. They don't necessarily have any electoral power at this point in time. They are not elected officials. However, they do still maintain a stronghold at the top of British culture and maintain a strong influence, at least based as far as any reporting that we have read when it comes to the royal family. So that is one of the major headlines of the day that we are going to keep an eye on and that we wanted to report for you right off the top. Now, before we moved into the reported arrest of the former Prince Andrew, we spoke a bit about the conditions outside. We wanted to make note of how cloudy, gloomy, and even foggy it is out there in Hampton Roads today and in northeastern North Carolina. But that was us just working based off of our observations. That is nothing compared to the expertise of meteorologist Evan Stewart, who joins us now in studio. Evan, how's everything today?
I was here about an hour ago. Where were you?
You were here in the Live Impact
Yeah,
News
I was,
studio? Well,
yeah.
I didn't get a text. People's producer,
I
Nia
know.
Campbell, did you get a text?
No,
I didn't receive an email,
Yeah,
an
I know.
Invitation,
I know. Well, it was from Sarah.
a direct message,
Yeah,
nothing.
direct. Well, I got a direct message from Sarah and
Okay.
Eugene asking me to join them.
Passing the blame off to Sarah and Eugene, our wonderful partners and coworkers in the Live Impact News endeavor here. Now, okay, just straight up, who's better, us or them? I mean, let's just be real here.
Of course, I'm going to have to say that it's the weather team.
Yeah, so I noticed you kind of started that sentence and you were like, where am I going to end this? I got to
Exactly.
find a way out of this. No, of course, we absolutely love working with Sarah and Eugene. They are the best in the business, as is
I would
our
say
weather
they are
team.
the best morning streamers I've worked with.
See, I knew it wouldn't take you long to find the perfect
to
way
find the
to
route.
land that plane. And our weather team, whether it's the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, the best in the business. You guys are always on top of these things, and we knew that there would be a bit of a dip today when it comes to these conditions.
I would say I think the 6:30 team is probably the best streaming team, though.
These three, the three people in this studio right now, myself, Evan Stewart, and Nia Campbell, 6:30 p.m. on 13 News Now Plus. That extra half hour is where we really dig into the broadcast. I agree with you totally, Evan. That's number one. Everyone else falls in line after that.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, it was a foggy start to the day today.
Really?
And we had the visibilities reduced, some showers, and we're still looking at some fog out there. Take a look at Virginia Beach. This is our camera on top of the Westin looking towards the south.
Yeah.
So it is up higher. Of course, the Westin, the tallest building in the Commonwealth, right here in Hampton Roads. And so this camera is up a little higher. This is our camera on the south side of the building looking off towards Mount Trashmore. And you can see a little bit of moisture on the camera lens, but certainly looking at the fog that is out there. And up towards Williamsburg. This camera is courtesy of colonialwilliamsburg.org, and this is up there by the museum that they're doing some construction there. And again, kind of a cloudy, drizzly day out there in Williamsburg as well. Hampton right now, cloudy along Settlers Landing Road there at the Virginia Air and Space Science Center. And the good news is the visibilities have come up a bit. Still half-mile visibility in Suffolk, a mile in Newport News, mile and a half in Chesapeake. And we mentioned in the earlier stream how all of these observations come from the local airports. Mm-hmm. And, there was a long-standing joke about the weatherman saying, it's 42 at the airport. Well, nobody lives at the airport. Why do we do that?
Right.
Well, naturally, airports need to have that good data for the pilots taking off. You definitely need to know about the winds, the barometric pressure, so the pilots can set their altimeters and things like that. So
nobody lives at the airport, we think.
We think
that
there was that Tom Hanks movie.
There
right?
have not been zero stories of people living at
right.
airports, but as far as we know,
Yes.
nobody lives at Norfolk International. But if they did, they'd have a very accurate weather report.
That's right, they would. And didn't Norfolk International just open up the new customs
just yesterday?
Just yesterday.
Press conference, new customs for international flights.
That's right. So Norfolk International is an international terminal once again.
That's right.
Which is great news. And thinking about a couple of warmer places that they go internationally than here in Hampton Roads. Because
sometimes you got to go to the sunshine if it won't come to you.
That's right. And we've seen a wide range of temperatures. We mentioned yesterday that we would see this, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Earlier this morning, Norfolk was 59. And when I came in and when we were doing the earlier stream, Norfolk was down to 41. We bumped up a little bit, back up to 46, but it's because of this easterly wind. It was east-northeasterly earlier, and when we were down to 41, just that little southerly component has bumped us up to 46. It's 50 in Chesapeake, 55 Elizabeth City, and 62 in Edenton, 64 in Ahoskie. It's still cloudy there, but that east-southeast wind makes a big difference. Compare that to, say, let's go up to, Hampton right now. Got a northeast wind, so it is a little bit cooler. We have a front that's draped right across the area, and that's sort of the focus for where all of these showers have been developing. I can put the front right there, sort of stalled across the area. It was a cold front earlier. Now it's become a stationary front, and it's going to lift back northward as a warm front later tonight, and that is going to help warm things up into the day tomorrow. But, yeah, we are tracking some of those showers rolling through.
Now, what you just showed us, is that the path of that front, or is that where it sits right now?
That's where it sits.
Okay.
So a little bit about fronts and, how they're drawn on the map. Because, originally you didn't have color maps that could be transmitted, around. So you had black and white maps. So that's why we have the triangles and the circles on the front. Those are called pips and barbs. Mm-hmm. The pips are the circles and the barbs are the triangles, and they point in the direction that a front is moving. Now, since we've got them moving, one on one side, one on the other, it's a stationary front, so it's not moving. But if we go back, and take a look at a cold front out here, let's say, back across Arkansas, that's just showing us that that's the direction that the front is moving, the direction there of the barbs.
I gotcha. Okay, so it's the combination of the pips and the barbs that keeps it stationary.
That's right.
Okay.
Because we have, kind of two battling air masses where, again, we are in the 60s, down across areas of North Carolina, but in the 40s. And eventually, later tonight, this front is going to transition back into a warm front and lift back to the north, and that's what's going to warm us up tomorrow.
Is the warm part the pips or the barbs?
The warm front are the pips.
The pips. So the pips will overtake the barbs in this situation.
That's right.
And it'll head north.
And Gladys Knight is not involved.
Gladys Knight is not involved, but in some ways Gladys Knight is always involved.
Isn't she? Yes.
We never want to lose sight. Now, that means it's going to warm up. So tonight, we expect it to be warmer than it is right now in Hampton Roads?
We do. Right? Even the next few hours,
okay.
Looking at our hour by hour, we should expect temperatures to climb back up into the low 50s this afternoon and eventually into the 60s tomorrow, and maybe even close to 70 degrees.
Excellent.
But we are going to look at some off and on showers. It's not going to be a total washout of a day, but it is just going to be a gray, misty, drizzly, kind of foggy afternoon.
Okay, not too bad.
And then we have to talk about what's going on this weekend. So first tomorrow, we'll get into this 7-day forecast here. First tomorrow, I think we might be a little optimistic with tomorrow's high of 71. I'm keeping it because that's where we were going last night. And I was thinking about maybe we could drop it a little bit. I don't think we'll quite get to the low 70s, but if it's 66, 70, right. 71 is, certainly warmer than this afternoon.
And if anything, just seeing that 71 on there makes me feel better.
It does, yeah. But then this weekend, sort of a 50-50 weekend. We will see a chance for some isolated showers into Saturday, mainly off towards the south, 55. And then rain is likely on Sunday. Sunday is going to be a wet day, likely breezy, if not windy, at the coastline. And it's really Sunday night into Monday. Notice that temperature. Monday morning, 32 degrees. So as this storm is sitting and exiting off towards the east, it's going to pull in some cold air. Okay. And we will see the temperatures drop. And if that cold air gets here fast enough and there's enough moisture left over, we will see that rain mix with and possibly change over to snow. Now, it's too early to talk about any kind of accumulation, but it is tough when you have a transitioning system from rain to snow to get significant accumulations. The ground's wet. Usually temperatures are borderline, as we are going to be here on a Monday morning. So, that is something that we're watching, and we'll back up there. I hit the button one too many times. So we are looking at the possibility of maybe some impacts Monday morning, and Tim and I are going to reevaluate this afternoon and see if we need to issue a weather impact alert for Monday.
Okay.
We were kind of on the fence with it yesterday, wanting to see a little more information, because I don't think it's going to be significantly impactful, but, it is back to work, back to school Monday morning. That Monday morning commute, could there be some slick spots on some roadways or something like that? So we're going to be watching that closely. So we may issue a weather impact alert for Monday morning. Otherwise, it is going to be cold once again, back into the 40s.
And Monday morning is such a critical time. I mean, there's those weekday mornings is really, that is almost when you most want to know the weather, because so many people are commuting, so many people have to go outside and venture out to get to their job, to get to whatever errands they have for the day. So I see that you guys are putting a little extra care into monitoring that point in time. What are you looking for? What are the factors that could tip the scales?
Well, if the system is a little bit stronger, it'll pull in the cold air a little bit faster. And if it is, allowed to pull in that cold air, we could see that transition a little bit earlier. That might be enough to overcome, some wet ground. I don't think there'll be too many significant issues on roads. I think it'll be more, some slush on cars and grass and things like that if we see it based on what we're seeing right now. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be a shady spot or something that, is a slick spot on a road. And, the last thing any of the school systems want is for a school bus to, hit a slick patch and, have an accident, go in a ditch or something like that. I know when I was a kid, here we had a snowstorm that was coming in and the school systems didn't wait. They waited a little bit too long and there were a few bus accidents. So, so the school administrators, they have to look out for that. And it's not just what's happening in your neighborhood, but it's what's happening in the whole city or the whole county. So, when you have, cities and counties that are as large as ours, you could have very different conditions from one part of the city or county to the other.
Right.
And that's what the school officials have to look at, the whole county, not just, your one neighborhood.
Right. Okay. So a lot of things to monitor, both for you guys on our weather team and for all of those officials who are in charge of making these decisions all across our area. And it's good to know. We cannot seem to shake this wintry mix, sort of pattern that we are in since we've gotten into 2026 here. That this will now be our third or fourth weekend where we anticipate some sort of precipitation that could cause at least travel problems.
Right.
And that needs to be monitored.
Yeah, some impacts, probably minor impacts, but impacts nonetheless.
Okay. All right. Very good. And then tomorrow, you said that it is going to be warm throughout the day into the evening on Friday.
Yeah. Again, 71 might be a little optimistic. We might we might bump that down to the upper 60s, but still, yes, warmer as we get into the day tomorrow, and then the weekend. Cooling off once again.
Can I kick a very specific scenario at you?
Absolutely.
All right, so tomorrow night, Friday night, everybody finishes up their hard work here at 13 News Now. The People's producer, Nia Campbell, is trying to do a little two-step out on the town. Nothing crazy, but she would like to go out. She would like to maybe have a nice dinner, enjoy herself. Where, Nia? Where are we going? Maybe a little downtown Norfolk?
I don't know. This is your scenario.
What do you mean? It's our scenario. I'm throwing you in there.
Do you actually do a two-step?
I mean, I don't know what he's talking about.
The two-step is just, that's how you express your excitement for, getting out on the town.
For a Friday?
For a Friday, for a Saturday.
Okay.
Or at least when I do, it's a little two-step out on the town. Though I will say, Nia, I think it's been proven over and over again on this show that you are a little smoother than I am. So maybe it's not a two-step for you. Maybe you just sort of glide out onto the town or float out and about. Is that fair?
I think more a Cupid's shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like Cupid Shuffle.
All
But why couldn't you put yourself in the scenario?
Well, I don't want things to be all about me all the time. I'm trying to spread the scenarios around. All right, let's shift it over. That's fair enough, Nia. That's fair enough. Let's shift it over. I'm doing a little two-step out on the town, and it is 8 p.m. It's Friday. I'm in Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. Am I good to go in a pair of shorts? I mean, are we talking that level of warmth if I'm going to be kind of walking around, having a good time outside?
Probably not by 8 o'clock. By then the sun will have set. Temperatures will likely be dropping back into the 50s. I have that pulled up on Futurecast here for 8 o'clock on Friday. Again, temperatures in the 50s. So, I don't, knowing you, Connor, yes. Yeah. You wear shorts in the 50s.
I do.
You wear shorts and flops in the 50s.
I'm just so ready. I'm so ready for the springtime that I am trying to kind of force it a little bit. I'm trying to manifest that, speak it into existence, despite understanding fully that is just not how weather works. It's going to do what it's going to do regardless of my proclivities. So, all right, a pair of khakis it is, maybe some jeans. We'll continue to respect the fact that it's still February, and before long, we'll be in a pair of shorts for our two-step.
That's right.
Anything else we need to know, Evan?
No, that's about it. Again, there will be some fog once again tonight into tomorrow morning.
Okay.
We didn't have too many issues with the fog this morning, but there could be some reduced visibilities going into tomorrow morning. And, of course, with all the bridges and tunnels, the fog likes to form closer to the water a lot of times. So there could be some impacts at some of the bridges and tunnels.
Okay. Just so you know, next time we do a pretend weekend scenario, I'm throwing you in there as the main character, Evan Stewart, all right? And that is Evan Stewart with your forecast. We will see you at 4 o'clock on 13 News Now.
4 o'clock, and
Wonderful.
I'll be there.
Awesome. We will see Evan Stewart. Please join us at 4 o'clock for more weather coverage, more coverage of all the stories of the day. For now, here on Live Impact News, we're going to take a... Now, I wonder, Nia, we do need to take a break at some point, but it does look like the Colin Gray trial, which is ongoing, has maneuvered into a portion where they're actually showing what appears to be video of, I believe, the day that they approached the Gray household to inquire about the activities of Colt Gray. And that may be Colt Gray there. I do not want to speak out of turn, but over the course of researching this story, those images are very familiar. I believe that is the day of the incident when authorities went to speak to the Gray family. So I wonder if we go out there live. I have been recording that trial. So maybe we could just go back to the beginning of this moment. Okay, speaking out loud, if you've been a regular viewer of 13 News Now Live Impact, you know that on occasion we will kind of try to figure things out in real time as far as the itinerary of the show. That was one of those moments. I overthought it a little bit. Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll go back to the very beginning of this portion of the trial and we'll listen in on these moments. For now, a brief commercial. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News, and let's stay on the topic that we were on before we went to commercial. The Colin Gray trial is ongoing. Of course, once more we will give the foundation of this, a mass shooting at a Georgia high school in 2024 that took the lives of 4 people, 2 students and 2 teachers, while also injuring many others. Now, that shooting is alleged to have been carried out by Colt Gray, but it's not Colt Gray that is on trial in this particular courtroom that we've been following this week. It is Colin Gray, Colt Gray's father, that is on trial for just less than 30 charges, including second-degree murder. Now, through the course of this trial, we've spent most of our time in the actual courtroom, but it appears as though today they are playing clips from when authorities approached Colin Gray, and we believe it may be approaching him after the incident at the school, though we know authorities spoke to the Gray family before the incident happened in order to address some sort of noticeable, potentially concerning activity from Colt. Okay, so it's possible that this is that conversation or any other different conversation, but the video is such that we want to listen in and get more of a sense of, actually, I wonder if that's a date there. Okay, so there is a date on this video. The date appears to be, what is that, May 21st, 2023, Naya? And so if this is May 21st, 2023, this conversation would have occurred before the mass shooting at the Georgia high school that is the incident that has led to this particular accusation, to these particular charges. So this is a conversation between authorities and members of the Gray family before that shooting happened at the Georgia high school where Colt Gray was a student. So I'm glad, thank you for bearing with us while we kind of, these are live events, so we are taking this in at the same time that you are. Thank you for a little bit of patience. This is a conversation between authorities and the Gray family, but it happened before, as far as we know, the actual shooting that is alleged to have been carried out by Colt Gray. Without further ado, let's listen into that conversation.
How did it all and getting interested in the outdoors. Like on my phone.
We can get away from those video games.
Exactly right. That's the God honest truth. And the picture on my phone was him with blood on his cheeks from shooting his first deer. It was just the greatest day ever. So he knows the seriousness of weapons and what they can do and how to use them and not use them. So it's kind of a little bit of a shock. So in whatever y'all telling him, please instill in him that if this is whatever or wherever this has come from, it's no joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's no joke.
Well, we wouldn't be here if it was.
No, I know. And I'm telling you right now, we talk about it quite a bit. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah,
All
scary.
there. You getting picked on at school. He's getting picked on at school. And is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
Yeah.
You know, because you never really know. And I don't want anything to happen to him. So, yeah. Y'all,
All right, well, if you want to grab them,
yeah, y'all talk.
or we can go in.
Sounds like cool.
Thank you. That's the worst part about it. I don't
More information in
These are good dudes. Just they're
Hey,
tough.
Cole, what's going on, bud? So did Dad kind of explain everything to you?
Said something about shooting up the school.
Did you say something about school shooting?
Never, I just told him, maybe they misheard somebody else, I would never say that was direct.
You never ever said.
No, I swear.
Do you use Discord?
Discord?
Yes, sir.
I used to, I haven't.
When's the last time you used it?
2 months ago.
Really?
Was it in traditions or was it here?
No, it was a tradition because in that Discord account that I had deleted it before. Because,
Before you went to?
yeah, because I think it got like, internet cash report or something, like I clicked on a link or something like that.
Have you heard anybody on Discord when you were using it say something like that? Remember?
Like, at that time?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I ever had anybody that.
Never. And I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody pinned up, but like, this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows how serious it is. Trust me.
'Cause I hate to, you know, my boss was leaving, like, you know, I don't know how old this information is, and if you want to wait till Monday to follow up, I was like, no, I'd rather do it now, because
So would we.
God forbid something happened, and I didn't have my job, I'd feel pretty bad about this, so I just want to make sure you understand that if something like that happens, or you hear something like that, tell their dad, tell teacher,
Yeah, like I
whatever.
told him, I promise I would never say something.
So you haven't used Discord in a few months,
No,
and you're saying you didn't say anything about it.
no, the only thing I have is TikTok, but I just go around there and watch videos.
All right, well, fair enough.
What's your birthday?
January 14th, 2007.
He's just gonna do a little report saying that,
We
we
talked.
done in reference to this, and that we talked, and you saying that you didn't say anything like that. I gotta take you at your word, and I hope you're being honest with me. I'm not saying you're lying, but it's not unusual for people to lie to us.
He's surveyed.
Hey, Colin, what's a good phone number for you, sir?
It's 706
706
590.
59.
It's a new number. I think it's 2876. We'll get to it.
That's what we're doing. About ready to get done with it?
I already finished, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
When was your last day?
Let's see, Sunday, so Friday.
Right. What grade you going into? Eighth grade, almost high school, man.
Yeah.
The last 4 years, really, the last 4 years is what matters. Get them good grades, man. Set you up for the rest of your life.
5902768.
590-2768.
Yes, sir. 5902768. Yeah, so look, you know, welcome any time. We take it like dead serious around here. I just want to make sure that I'd even feel better if you do find out what or where. Like, can some of us know? 'Cause
Sure.
He's going to be full of anxiety until this gets resolved. I can tell you that.
I would never say something related to.
So did you switch schools when you moved from Traditions? Where were you going before?
West Jackson.
West Jackson Middle? Okay. Is things a lot better now?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. That's good.
Let me grab you, can I walk through your grass and all that?
You getting bullied over there at West Jackson Middle?
That's the thing, I wasn't back there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wasn't getting-
Now, look, be honest with him about that.
Yeah.
Now in middle school, I told him you were now, and that's.
You getting switched out halfway through the school year? Getting a new guy?
Yeah, being that quiet, I was moved like 6 times already.
Well, my dad was a logger and grew up in the military. We moved a lot when I was a kid.
But in the past schools, surprisingly, I wasn't at fruits, like I didn't necessarily have a reason that I would say that.
No. Yeah. Well, there's always somebody you can talk to if you need to.
Yeah.
School resource counselors.
Yeah, and I do talk to them. Yeah, I talk to the counselor often.
Okay.
Just, what update or on, just how much
Yeah. Start looking out and making goals for yourself.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You interested in anything?
I want to do philosopher on
A what?
a philosopher.
A philosopher.
Yeah. It's kind of out there.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do what you enjoy.
Okay, so that particular recording just ending there. We're going to pull up where that recording sort of carries on here in just a brief moment. But as you can see, as we spoke about a little bit beforehand, authorities at the Gray household speaking to Colin Gray and Colt Gray. We got a little bit more information here from previous reporting from CNN, which says that Colt Gray was in fact questioned by law enforcement after anonymous tips about online threats to commit a school shooting that included photos of guns. That was a joint statement from FBI Atlanta and the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. So online threats, including photos of guns, leading to a conversation between law enforcement and Colt Gray and Colin Gray about those threats or about those messages. And you heard them ask, are you familiar with Discord at one point? Discord, a popular online service where kids can, or where people can chat and post and things of that nature. So those warning signs in May of 2023 appearing via this conversation based on our observation, and then all the way into 2024, Colt Gray alleged to have carried out this mass shooting at the Georgia high school where he was a student. So that obviously a major part of this trial as the trial is ongoing for Colin Gray. And we are pulling up actually just now. The video continues just a couple seconds after our video just ended. Let's continue to listen in on this conversation between law enforcement and members of the Gray family. Again, in May of 2023, around a year before the actual mass shooting happened at the Georgia high school that Colt Gray is alleged to have carried out. Let's continue listening.
So you don't have to fit everything inside the box.
Yeah, I might branch out.
Yeah. We got guys at the sheriff's office are full-time plumbers, full-time police officers, and, do what pays the bills, do what they enjoy. But everything's going good.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. You got a phone? What's your phone number?
Like I said, I changed my phone number.
Okay. Right. Dad said you went deer hunting for the first time this past year. What'd you get? Three-pointer?
Yeah,
Fork on one side and one a prong on the other, or?
it was one side and two,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, fork on one side, one on the other, spike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we believe this time the video paused because they're headed back into the courtroom. Well, it appears to have resumed. Let's continue to listen.
Out there in rut and breaking off an antler. Run around with just one set of antlers.
Well, look, Cole, I appreciate it. Your dad got my card. If anything, if you hear anything, tell you that he's got my number. You got that simple.
It's serious. He knows how serious it is, and he'll, like I said, we'll have a long conversation here in just a little bit. And it's something, there was a pretty traumatic thing that him and I both went through now. He was at school, I was at work, come home, and I mean, every ounce of what we had was under tarps and sitting in that yard. You saw it.
Yeah.
You saw the clientele, the neighbors that lived there. It's like fully embarrassing. So it was very traumatic for both of us, and living here, just us, is like, dust is finally settled, he's making good grades, so.
That's good. We'll keep that up. That's important.
We'll start talking about traditions in West Jackson and just see if something jogs his memory like that, but, certainly we'd like to know if something, if you do find.
Well, my thing is this, so more than likely they track the IP address.
Okay.
And that's why we went to that address.
Okay.
Because the IP address is usually location specific.
Yep.
Within an area, so. If it came from that house, then either somebody there's lying, or the information's just so old,
Yep.
and, maybe it was something he heard or did on Discord months ago, I don't know, I have no idea.
Okay.
But he's telling me he didn't, telling me he can't remember anything like that,
Yeah.
I take that at your word. But if you look me in the eye and tell me that's what you're telling me, I got no choice but to take it at your word right now. But like I was telling your dad, if I find out otherwise, man, it's a different story. But
It's a really different story. Okay.
got any questions?
No, sir.
You have any questions? All right, now I'm going to rush you down.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, sir.
Y'all be safe.
Good luck to you.
So there was a part there where you stepped away from with Colin. Where did y'all go?
I think we went to my car to grab a card,
Okay.
like one of my business cards.
And did you have any further conversation with him there?
I did. I honestly couldn't tell you what was said,
Okay.
unless it's in the report somewhere.
Okay. Did you write a report about that also?
I did.
Okay. Did you write your report in close in time to
I
when
did.
it happened?
It was that. I think it was that Monday.
So you wrote it that day or the Monday? Okay.
And it was ongoing report. Wasn't all done at one time.
Okay. I'm going to show you Martin State Exhibit number 138. You have a copy of your report?
I do.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to show you. And I'll keep this copy. You have your copy. These reports that you write, you wrote it contemporaneously, you said either that day or the next day?
Correct.
Okay. And the purpose of writing the report, what is that?
Document everything that went on. Everything you can remember, whether it be something you were thinking at the time or something, maybe you smelled something weird at the time.
In case you have to testify about it 3 years later?
Correct.
Okay. Is it reflected in your report what you talked with Colin about?
Honestly, I'd have to go through it. I believe there are some instances where it is, yes.
Yes. All right. Specifically, I'm looking at the top of page 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So at this point, had you been able to view the tip?
No, only it was an attachment in an email. That was as far as I could get with it.
Did you give any instructions to Colin before you left?
As a matter of protocol, whenever something like this comes up, I typically tell people, especially when there's some kind of threat of a shooting, I tell them if you have any guns in the house, make sure the kids can't get to them. Obviously, people have a right to their Second Amendment. I can't tell him, I can't force him to lock guns in a safe or do anything like that without some specific court order telling me to enforce that. But just as a matter of protocol, whenever there's a threat involving guns, we tell parents, probably put your guns away, lock them up where your kids can't get at them. That's just good common sense, I think.
And does it reflect in your report that you do that with Colin?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also advise him about Colt in school? Any things that should be done with that?
I advised him to keep Colt out of school until we could resolve the matter.
And how did he respond?
Fortunately, school had already been excused for the year,
Okay.
so there wasn't really any concern of him going back to school that year.
Okay. So school had already ended?
Correct.
Okay. On May 23rd, so 2 days later, were you able to open the tip?
Yes.
And did you review it at that time?
I did.
Okay. And where was the source of information in the tip coming from?
It's a very good question. There was several different sources, it appeared. Palmdale, California, city of Cockburn in Western Australia, and Los Angeles, California.
And what was the Discord user's name associated with?
Let's see. I remember seeing it on here somewhere. So I know I have the email. I don't know that
There wasn't like a username?
I don't know that I recorded it or not. And if I did,
Do you have a copy of the tip with you?
it's probably in this case probably is. So I'd have to dig through and find it. Actually, you know what? I think it's on this disc. I don't think I ever printed it out.
Okay. I'll show you what I'm marking exhibit number 208 for reference purposes. See if you recognize what that is.
This appears to be the tip that I'd received.
Okay, and on page 7 of that tip, does it refresh your recollection as to what the Discord username was?
You may have to point it out to me.
It's a little dense, isn't it?
Oh, there it is right there.
Okay.
I was looking through this highlighted part.
Okay.
Exclamation, you want me to read it out?
Sure.
Exclamation point, FBOM, pound or hashtag, depending on your generation, 0703.
Okay. And was that account tied to anyone?
I believe it was tied to Colt.
Okay. And was there a phone number?
Okay, discussing the Discord that is alleged to have contained the messages that led to that conversation between law enforcement and the Gray family. Now, we are going to take a brief commercial break. That trial actually live right now as we speak. When we get back from break, we'll jump right back into that trial. First, a brief word from our sponsors. All right, thank you for your patience. Thank you for staying with us. We are going to go right back out to the Gray trial right now.
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you do a contact log, or is it part of DFACS's policy to have a contact log so that whenever you do something?
We want to note quickly here that a different witness is on the stand now. Previously, they were talking to the law enforcement officer who we believe was having that conversation with the Gray family. In the clip that we played, it appears as though a new witness has taken the stand. We just wanted to give a brief update. We went from a recording from earlier today into the live trial. I'm sure we'll get caught up to speed before long, but we just wanted to note that for the viewers.
Is that, would you recognize
yes,
that?
I'm sorry, yes.
And what is that?
This is our log of contacts that we can access through our system where we document our notes.
Okay. And is that the one that pertains to Colt Gray?
Yes.
And what is the case number for that?
1853-1601.
Okay. And what was the background for this case? Why was DFACS involved?
To my knowledge, Mom and Dad had some issues going on, and Mom had moved to another county, and so I kept up with Dad since he was in my county.
Okay. So Mom and some other kids are in one county, and Dad and Colt are in Jackson County?
Yes.
Okay. And it was your job to monitor Colt?
Yes.
And what are you monitoring for?
Just, I guess, the well-being of the child, their safety, since the safety issues was with Mom and Dad. In case.
Okay.
Or
And is there
still safe, sorry.
Okay. And is there certain things you're specifically looking for?
Yes. Education, making sure there's no neglect there. Medical, family, stuff like that.
Okay. And did you go to, how often would you check on Colt?
Monthly, once a month.
Once a month. And by checking on Colt, what would you do?
Go to their home. I have to lay eyes on them. Just go to their home. Is that what you're asking? Or
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so when did you first do that? When was your first contact?
My first visit with them was March 9th, 2023.
Okay. And what I've given you, which is states 201, is that the contact narrative from that day?
It is.
Okay. And does it accurately reflect what you were doing on that day?
Yes.
Okay. Who did you meet with on that day?
I only was able to meet with Mr. Colin Gray.
Okay. And was this where was this?
At his house.
Okay. And did you speak with him face to face?
I did.
Okay. Was this an announced visit? Did he know you were coming?
No, it was unannounced, and typically every visit was unannounced. But for our first visit, I didn't have any working numbers, so I had to show up unannounced.
Okay. And what happened when you got there?
I introduced myself. I explained that I was with DFACS and that I had to see him and his son monthly. He told me that he already talked to another case manager and did not want to speak with me. So I just asked if we can just exchange numbers, which we did.
Okay. And was that the end of the contact on that day?
Yes.
And that, again, was what day?
March 9th, 2023.
Okay. When, this time I tender states that at number 201 into evidence.
Any objection?
I'm sorry, that's what I just showed you.
Oh, that's fine.
No objection?
No objection.
201 submitted.
And when was your next? When was your next contact?
April 12th, 2023.
Okay. And again, where was this?
At his residence.
Okay. And who did you speak with?
At this visit, I was able to speak with Colin and Colt.
Okay. And what did Colin tell you about how things were going?
Mr. Collins said that his son was doing fine. He doesn't really get in trouble. He said that Colt is shy, and his behavior has been much better since his mom's been gone.
Well, let me do this. Show you State Exhibit 201.1. What is that? Is that a copy of your contact log?
Yes.
And does it accurately reflect your conversation with Mr. Colin Gray on that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's Tender State Exhibit number 201.1 in evidence.
No objection. All right, 201.1.
We'll go ahead and pull that up. No, that's, yeah. Yeah, it should be 412. There we go. So is that what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that on the left, there are certain, it's like subjects that are underlined.
Yes.
Okay.
Something you have to talk about each time.
Is this kind of like a checklist y'all have of topics you have to talk about?
Yes.
Okay. And you do this every time you do the visit?
I do.
Okay. And so on this one, did you ask about his well-being?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say?
That was him saying his behavior was fine. He doesn't really give trouble. And that he started acting better when his mom left.
Okay. And under education, what did he say about how Colt was doing with school?
He said he was doing good in school and that he has a good relationship with his teachers, with Colt's teachers.
Okay. And at the end of this, did you under the very bottom it says case planning services, drug screens.
Mm-hmm.
Did you offer any services for Colt?
I did. I asked if he thinks Colt needs therapy to address the issues going on in the home with his mom, and he stated no.
Okay.
But we'll keep an open mind.
Okay. Is that on the second page?
Well, this is on the first page. Well, the end of the first one and the top of the second one.
Did he make any mention to you of any bullying Colt was getting at school?
No, not at this time.
Okay. So then I want to when was your next contact?
March 5th, 2023.
Okay.
I'm sorry, maybe I've got dates wrong. I had first visit March 9th, second visit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
April 12th, she just said March 5th.
May. I'm sorry.
So your next one is May 5th, 2023?
Yes.
It shows 201.2. And is that a copy of your contact log from
Yes.
that day?
Mm-hmm.
And does it accurately reflect your conversation with Colin Gray on that day?
Yes.
Okay. And like, Your Honor, I tender State Exhibit number 201.2 in evidence.
No objection. All right, 201.2 is admitted.
And again, this contact, was it face-to-face?
Yes.
And was it at the residence?
Yes.
Okay. And was it unannounced?
Yes, and it was typically, every time it was unannounced because every time I would call, I could never reach him on the phone by text or voicemail, so I just have to show up.
He wouldn't answer phone calls?
No.
Okay. So what happened when you arrived?
I had to ring the doorbell a few times. When he did answer, he was in his towel, his chest was out, and he said that he had to go back and change his clothes, but before he was confused why I kept coming back, and I told him, like I did the first visit, that I had to see them monthly.
Okay. And did you go through that checklist with him also?
I did.
And what did he say about Colt's behavior?
He said that Colt has been behaving good since his mother left, and he still hasn't caused any trouble, or rarely caused any trouble.
Okay. And what does he say about school at this point?
He's doing great in school, says Colt is enjoying school.
Okay. Does he make any mentions of problems with bullying at school?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Did he tell you that the 2 weeks prior he sent an email to the school on April 17th about bullying?
No, he did not.
Okay. Did you talk to him about further services?
Yes, I would ask if he, well, at this time, I told him that the other case manager that was working with Miss Marcy, that they want Colt to do counseling.
And when was your next monthly visit?
June 9th, 2023.
Okay. Let me show you. What's marked as 201.3. So you recognize that.
I do.
And what is that?
My log of contact for the month of June.
And that's the contact on June 9th?
Yes.
Okay. And does it accurately reflect the conversation you had with Mr. Colin Gray on that day?
Yes.
Okay. You're on a Interstate Exhibit number 201.3 in the evidence?
No objection. All right, 201.3 is good.
Okay. Now, this time, do you have a face-to-face with him again?
I do.
And was it announced or unannounced?
Unannounced still.
And why was it unannounced?
I could not reach him over the phone.
Okay. And did you ask about Colt's behavior?
I did.
And what did he tell you?
He said Colt's behavior has been okay and that Colt has just been staying to himself.
Did he say anything about if Colt caused trouble or not?
And says he does not cause any trouble.
Did you ask him about school?
Yes, so at this visit he said that Colt was doing good in school academically, but has had trouble with, well, school was let out, so it was summertime. So he said that Colt was dealing with some bullying towards the end of the school year.
Okay. This is the first time he'd mentioned bullying to you?
Yes.
Okay. Did he say anything to you about law enforcement coming out to his house 19 days earlier?
No.
Okay. Doesn't mention any of that at all?
No.
Okay. Did you talk to him about Colt needing further counseling?
Yes. I did. And I told him this time, I said, Colt has told me some things about his mom and seems to have anger towards his mom, and I feel that Colt should be in therapy at this point, but he said since Colt hasn't been causing any trouble, he still doesn't feel like it's necessary.
Okay. So he did not think counseling was necessary for Colt?
Correct.
Okay. Then I want to take your attention now to when was your next contact?
After that, I was not able to contact him. I did go to the house 3 times in July.
Okay. Tell me about the first time you went to the house.
I didn't write the dates for that. But the first time I went, couldn't reach him on the phone, so I just went up to the home and no answer, no car in the driveway or anything.
Okay. I'm going to show you Smart States number 201.4. Ask you to recognize that.
I do.
And what is that?
My log of contacts for the month of July, but we still have to write in our narrative.
So even though there's not a contact?
Yeah.
Okay. And does it accurately reflect what you did during the month of July trying to contact Colin Gray?
Yes.
Okay. You're on Interstate Exhibit number 201.4 in evidence.
No objection. All right, 201.4 submitted.
So this is July 6th. What happened?
I went to their home unannounced, rang the doorbell and waited, and nobody answered.
Okay. And when did you go back?
On the 19th.
And what happened on the 19th?
I went to the home unannounced, rang the doorbell, waited. No one answered. This time I went up to the front door that has windows on the sides, and I peeked through, and there was no furniture, but just a ladder.
Okay. And when did you go back?
And then I went back on the 21st. Same thing, I peeked through, no furniture, and I left like my contact information because I didn't know what was going on at that point, just in case he needed my number again or something.
Okay. Did he ever contact you? Ever?
Never.
Okay. At some point, did you find out that where they had moved to?
I did.
And where did they move to?
Barrow County,
Okay. And which county do you cover?
Jackson County.
Okay. Did you have any further contact with Colin or Colt?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Ms. Anderson.
Hi.
All right, I have a few questions. I know this is from a ways ago, so if you need to look at some of these logs, just let me know, okay? All right, so you met with Mr. Gray on April 12th of 2023, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you go through this kind of a protocol you have where you make sure that you cover all the different topics you're supposed to. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. So when you got to the part where you asked about case planning services, things like that, you referred to talking about counseling and therapy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and I just have to say yes or no for the court.
I'm sorry, yes.
You're fine. Okay. And these are suggestions that you make based on information that you have received from other sources, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not your opinion from associating with these folks that you think they need counseling?
Well, that too.
Okay. So you had received word from someone, and I don't want you to tell me what they said because that would be hearsay, but you had received some word from someone in South Georgia or in another county that there may be some anger issues with Colt and his mom.
Yes.
Okay. And had you ever met his mother?
I have not.
Did you ever spend any time with her?
No.
Ever interviewed her?
No.
Okay. Now, it looks like you met with Mr. Gray again on May the 5th.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. And if we look at that, there is a section where it says private F/F. Can you tell the jury just what the F/F stands for?
Face to face.
All right. So that means that would have been done outside the presence of his dad. Is that right? Okay. So you spoke to Colt Gray in this private meeting about the need for services, correct?
Yes.
And you let Colt know that his mother's case manager was recommending some kind of therapy for him or counseling.
I don't think I let Colt know that. I'm not sure.
Sure. Do you have page 57 in front of you? Or
Yes.
nearby? Do you see on page 57 where it says services/other, a little past halfway through?
For
See if
May
that-
5th?
See if that refreshes your memory at all. Under the section for private F/F with Colt Gray.
Okay.
Does that help refresh your memory at all?
It does.
So did you have a conversation with Colt about counseling and therapy in that private meeting?
Okay, you're talking about page 57/84?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is blank.
I'm sorry?
This one?
Give me 1 second.
No, Your Honor, what it is the part we put into evidence is her conversations with Colin, because the conversations about Colt would have been hearsay. I do have a copy that has that, but it can't put into evidence because it would be hearsay. So if he wants to refresh her memory, he can use this copy.
Use this one. Well, I apologize.
I'm like, did I
I
not
thought you
write
had
it?
something totally different than you did.
Okay.
All right. just go ahead and look at that, and I'm going to ask you some questions about what you said, not about what Colt said.
Okay, I see it.
Okay. So you had that conversation with Colt, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And again, that was in the private meeting with him, not with his dad present.
Yes.
And then you went back out, it looks like, on June the 9th. Okay. And at that time, you had another meeting with both Colin Gray, the father, and Colt, the son. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Once again, you brought up the anger issues with the mother with Colin Gray, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge at that time, and every time you visit them, it sounds like, Mom was not living with them.
No.
Mom was not there.
No.
Okay. All right. Let me grab that back so I can give that to the DA. It's his.
Okay.
And he may have some other questions. Thank you.
Can you redirect?
There you
All right, thank you, ma'am. There you go.
Thank you. Do you want these papers?
are. You sleep there, I'll come to it.
Okay.
State calls next week.
State calls to meet convention.
Do we sure you use the restroom? All right. Thought I didn't see the note. All right, we'll take a 10-15 minute restroom break.
All right, so that trial going to recess, some really, really intriguing testimony there from people who had direct interactions with Colt Gray, and some, especially the law enforcement officer from earlier, who had interactions with Colin Gray as well. Now, this trial's still going. We'll continue to cover it as the weeks progress. For today, we're going to take a brief break of our own. Afterwards, we're going to dig into some more of today's stories. That's coming up next. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. Let's move forward with some more of today's major stories. There was an exoneration hearing today that started this morning about the 1991 yogurt shop murders. We know that this was a long time ago, but it was a massively, in terms of attention, this case got a lot of it back in 1991 when it first occurred, nearly 34 years ago now, 35 years ago. So investigators believe that the yogurt shop murders have been solved. Now, new technology is constantly making these types of cases more accessible from an evidence standpoint. Now, what exactly was this case? This was in North Austin in the state of Texas. 14 girls were killed in a yogurt shop. Now, it was a gruesome incident. The yogurt shop was burned down. Part of that is why evidence was rare or difficult to come by. 14 girls found dead inside a burned down yogurt shop in Austin, Texas. Now, at the time, they were not able to solve this case, though there were suspects that they believed to be culpable at the time. So this quadruple murder led to 4 men being arrested and charged with capital murder in 1999. Now, 2 of those cases never went to trial. 2 of them did go to trial and resulted in guilty convictions. However, those cases were later overturned. So this case led to 4 people being charged, 2 didn't go to trial, 2 were convicted, ultimately overturned, which reopened the mystery of these yogurt shop murders. Now, again, due to advancing technology, those murders have now been reportedly solved. How so? Well, genetic genealogy technology identified the perpetrator as serial killer Robert Eugene Brashers. Now, Brashers died by suicide in 1999, but using that genealogy technology, he was able to be identified as the perpetrator in this particular murder. Now, of course, there are a number of different angles to pay attention to in this case, one of which is that the 4 men who were charged with these crimes were innocent the whole time. Obviously, those convictions had already been overturned by the time this new technology led to a concrete suspect or a concrete perpetrator, a concrete quadruple murderer in this case. But still, you think back to those 4 men who were charged, 2 of whom were convicted. Likely their lives changed forever when they were simply not culpable in these murders at all, according to this new evidence that we have here and according to the overturn of those cases that happened later on. Of course, Brasher has been connected to other murders, a 1990 murder in South Carolina, in 1997 the rape of a 14-year-old in Memphis, and a 1998 double murder of a woman and her 12-year-old daughter in Missouri. So Brasher, a serial killer, now linked to this quadruple murder in Austin. Again, he died by suicide in 1999. Now, the yogurt shop murders leading to this new suspect has led to renewed attention on the 4 individuals who were originally accused of this crime, charged and some convicted. That is what has led to this morning's development, which is an exoneration hearing, an opportunity to exonerate the 4 gentlemen who were originally accused of this crime. Also, a degree of justice for the friends and the family of the 4 teenage victims who were brutally murdered in this case. So let's go out to that exoneration hearing that happened earlier today. This is a recording of a portion of that hearing. Let's listen in. This is our first time here on Live Impact News covering an exoneration hearing. So we also are not exactly sure what path this will take, but it appears as though there are witnesses on the stands. We see some pictures of what appears to be family of some sort gathering here. Let's all take a listen together and see what this exoneration hearing is like right now.
The phrase most often associated with justice, the principle meant to anchor the system, is innocent until proven guilty. but for my father and 3 of his peers, that principle did not exist. From the very beginning, the presumption was not innocence, it was guilt. Guilty until proven innocent. In 1991, my father was a shy 16-year-old boy who loved anything automotive. He was smitten with a girl he met in PE class, my mom, and spent most of his time tinkering on cars. He had a natural gift for it. There was nothing he couldn't figure out how to fix. And that's exactly who he was. That's exactly who he was when someone needed help. If life knocked you down, he sat beside you until you found your footing again. He would spend hours holding space with you, talking about everything and nothing. He knew how to be present. He knew how to make people feel seen. In his own quiet way. He knew how to fix more than just cars. He knew how to steady the hard emotions life threw your way. That simple teenage life quickly shattered in December of 1991 when he sat in a room across from a detective named Hector Polanco. For 2 days and nights, his family had no idea where he was. For hours, there was no proper record of what occurred. Graphic crime scene photos from one of Texas's most horrific crimes were passed around carelessly, shown to a frightened teenager who was lied to and manipulated into believing the gun he had access to was the gun used. Inside that room, there was no evidence, only a detective and a narrative. A narrative so completely false, it feels evil. It's this story of a boy who was a troublemaker, a magnetic leader with disciples, and later a story of a ringleader and a mastermind. Those words, ringleader and mastermind, used to float around in my head as a little girl, as I tried to grasp what was happening in my world. I learned at a very young age that the very institution meant to serve and protect was capable of evil, capable of lies, and not just harmless human error, but intentional corruption and deception. Recently, I sat with an attorney who described my father standing before the judge in 1999, saying he would give them whatever they needed to clear his name. And the attorney stopped him. He told my father he could not allow him to do that, not because he was guilty, but because the system was dangerous. Because any evidence, any test, any DNA could be taken and bent to fit the story they had already decided to tell. What does that say about justice? What does it say when an attorney knows openly and plainly that the truth is not safe in the hands of the very system meant to protect it? What does it say when an innocent man must be warned that cooperation could be used as a weapon against him? That is how broken this system is. That is how deeply the corruption runs. My father would be hogtied in his front yard on October 6th of 1999. Then he went against the advice of his own lawyer and voluntarily provided his DNA, took a lie detector test, and even agreed to hypnosis, all to prove his innocence. From 1999 to 2003, despite a complete lack of evidence and repeated proof of his innocence, his alibi, his DNA, a past polygraph, and hypnosis. He was forced to spend more than 3 years in a concrete box. More than 2 of those years were spent in solitary confinement, locked alone for 23 hours a day. Those years were so dark, but he could barely speak of them afterwards. I have spent my life wondering what kind of suffering drives a strong and good man to say he would rather die than ever return to such a place. After his release in 2003, the harassment did not stop. Police followed him, watched him, treated him as a suspect in perpetuity. I witnessed it as his daughter, but those stories are for another day. Let me be clear, this is not the work of a single monster. This is not one moment of evil. This was the result of a justice system that actively hunted my father, harassed him, twisted facts to fit a narrative, and tried to force a confession to support a story they had already decided to tell. It was the result of officials who were never questioned, never checked, and never held to the standards they swore to uphold. A system that was created to protect the innocent instead became the very thing that destroyed him. For my daddy, it was a nightmare he could not escape. A traffic stop because my father rolled through a stop sign turned into what felt like an entire police force flooding a neighborhood, searching for an unarmed man who fled on foot, who fled from pure terror and severe PTSD from what he endured for years at the hands of this broken institution. I've yet to hear that dispatch. Were they searching for a man who rolled through a stop sign and fled? Or were they searching for a man named Maurice Pierce? What I have heard and seen, I call into question. That night, I had to listen to my daddy's worst fear come true. And then I had to listen to him stop talking to me. What I would come to realize was him taking his last breath. My world grew darker that night. I lost my anchor, my soft landing, my home. The pursuit would have never stopped. People wanted to see him suffer. People wanted to see him die because of a narrative created by detectives with no evidence. Alibis were inconvenient, evidence was irrelevant, and narratives reigned over all. The world grew darker for me the moment APD took my innocent father into custody. And again, when I saw him chained for the first time behind glass. And again, when I saw him in a courtroom for the first time. And again, when I hugged him in a small room with chains on his feet after years of only touching glass. And again, when a cop forced me inside as he proceeded to harass my father and throw him on top of his car. And again, and again, and again, until the last time My world didn't just alter, it completely shattered. To listen to the sounds of my daddy, someone I completely love and adore, live his absolute worst fear, and then to share those last moments with him unknowingly, it's completely shattered me. This was not justice. This was institutional failure. And the cost of that failure was my father's life, his dignity, and his future. My father paid the price. I do not get to see my father live in a world where everyone finally knows what he had been saying all along, that he was innocent. I do not get to see his relief. I do not get to see his peace. To the families of Eliza, Amy, and Sarah and Jennifer, my heart breaks for you and your girls. My father's heart broke for you and your girls. There are no words I can offer, but I will hold you in my prayers for the rest of my days. To the Austin Police Department, the DA's office, and to Paul Johnson, your tunnel vision stole my daddy's future. You took his peace, his freedom, his dignity, and his life. My father was not a headline. He was not a ringleader or a mastermind, as your story would have it. He was an innocent boy, an innocent man, who was good to his very bones, and who mattered. Words to describe how incredible of a human being, how amazing of a father he was will never be enough. I'll miss him for the rest of my life because of your tunnel vision. I thank God every day that I was able to experience a father's love that has no end, a love I can still feel to this day. I thank God for the sweet glimpses of him I see in my children. I may not see justice fully realized here on this earth for him, but I know that I'm not alone. There are countless other families carrying similar grief and unanswered questions, the same wounds left behind by an institution that refuses to correct itself. Unchecked power cannot continue. Tunnel vision cannot continue. Accountability must come. Reform is coming. It has to. And finally, the man who made me who I am today, my best friend, my daddy. Daddy, you have your name back. The world finally hears what you were trying to say all along. Daddy, I love you.
Well, just absolutely gut-wrenching, shattering testimony there from the daughter of one of the men who was falsely accused of those yogurt shop murders. You could feel the pain in her voice. You could feel the sadness in her voice, the frustration, as she talked about the impact that that situation had on her father and her family. And it wasn't just the accusation happened and then families moved on. It wasn't even after the original exoneration, after his release. People did not move on. This clearly hung over him, like based on that testimony, as a dark cloud for his entire life, based on what we just heard from his daughter. And it was a false accusation, we now know, for a murder that was committed by someone else entirely. And it's not just that individual's father, but 3 others, men who were under 17 when this incident occurred. And so you can feel the impact, and you can feel how important this exoneration hearing is, for what little relief it may be able to provide to families after a long and difficult road for those 4 individuals and all of those who are connected to them. Now, after that exoneration hearing, lawyers spoke outside of the courtroom. We have that video as well. We're now going to take a listen in to the lawyers speaking at the conclusion of this hearing.
That the proceedings that have taken place today will bring long-awaited closure to every person who has been affected by the yogurt shop murders. It is my sincere hope that with this closure, we can begin to heal. I want to thank Austin Police Department Chief Davis for supporting this investigation. I want to thank her for not giving up and making sure that the truth saw the light, no matter how painful it was, nor how difficult the truth was to fathom. The evidence is clear. Robert Eugene Rashears committed the yogurt shop murders. I only regret that he is not alive so that he can be prosecuted and held accountable for those heinous crimes. To the families of Amy, Eliza, Sarah, and Jennifer, both those who were able to join us today, and to those that could not be here, we are so sorry if this journey has only amplified your grief. I hope that the certainty of the evidence will aid you in your path to closure and to healing. To Amy, Eliza, Sarah, and Jennifer, we are so sorry that we have failed you for so long. May you rest in peace knowing that the truth of that horrific night has been revealed. To Mr. Forrest Wellborn, on behalf of the Office of the Travis County District Attorney, I am sorry for what you have been through. You are innocent and you were wrongfully accused, and I am sorry for that. I hope that this process and any process that comes after affords you the fresh start that you deserve. Thank you for being here. To Kim and Marissa, where are you guys? I am so sorry that Maurice isn't here today. He is innocent and he was wrongfully accused. I hope that the truth can bring you some peace, and I hope that by our actions today we have cleared his name. To Mr. Springsteen and to Mr. Scott. Where's Mr. Scott? You were wrongfully accused and you are innocent. And I am so sorry for the role that our office played in that tragedy. I hope that this process and any process that comes after affords you the peace and the freedom that you deserve. I want to thank all of the council who have diligently and vigorously represented these men for so long. I want to thank their families who have believed and fought for their innocence. And I'd like to take a second to thank Trudy Strasburger and the entire District Attorney's Office team, particularly our Conviction Integrity Unit, that worked hard to make sure that this truth came to light, and who work hard every day to make sure that the truth comes to light for so many people wrongfully accused in our state. I'd like to welcome Mike Ware, the Executive Director of the Innocence Project, and I want to thank the Innocence Project not just for their work on this case, but for the work they do in the state of Texas and across the country every day to vigorously fight for innocence. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Mike Ware. I'm the Executive Director of the Innocence Project of Texas, and I had a whole lot of help on this case from my staff counsel, Jesse Floyd and Chase Baumgardner, from co-counsel on this case, who y'all saw in action in the courtroom today, and I want to thank all of them. I also want to thank Judge Blasey for taking the time to hear this extremely important case. Her judicial finding that these 4 men are innocent and always have been innocent is a victory for justice. I also want to thank District Attorney Jose Garza. I want to thank the Austin Police Chief and the Austin Police Department, and particularly the Cold Case Unit, and of course Detective Dan Jackson, for everything they have done in the pursuit of true justice and to get us where we are today. In 1770, John Adams proclaimed that, quote, facts are stubborn things, unquote. The truth cannot be altered by convenient, false narratives. These innocent men, when they were boys, were manipulated by authorities in order to manufacture a false narrative that could be sold to juries and to the public. And it worked for a while. But that's now officially over. The stubborn facts and the truth have prevailed, as John Adams says. And we at the Innocence Project have seen this time and again when the wrong people are accused, wrongfully convicted, incarcerated, or worse, the actual perpetrator goes on to commit more violent crimes, victimizing more innocent good people. This has to stop. The actors and institutions whose misjudgments and bad decisions and bad practices took this case so far off the rails, as well as the institutions that allowed for and even encouraged their misjudgments and bad decisions, must be held accountable. And in holding those accountable, we intend to advocate for and push for reform all over the state of Texas, so that what happened here in Austin will not happen again, either here or anywhere else in the state. Thank you. We'll take questions. You know, I'm sure we'll have some. I'm sure we'll have some discussions about the restitution that these people are entitled to. It could possibly involve a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit, and we'll just see. That remains to be seen. But we hope to have some talks with people who matter. We hope we can work some reforms in, and we need to talk about restitution for these folks. You know, probably a civil lawsuit in federal court.
Anyone else wanting to speak?
Is this the final step for them? Is it finally over?
I have spoken out for years on behalf of not only Michael, my ex-husband, but on behalf of Robert and on behalf of Maurice and Forrest, demanding this day. What these men and our families have been put through should never have happened. Never. But let me be clear. We are not alone in what we face. There are hundreds of families across this state and this nation that may never see a day like this where their loved one is declared innocent. The system is not perfect. It is flawed. And it must change, and it must change for the better. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Diaz. I've met some of you over the years, and I'm glad that you're here today to hear the wonderful news. I have in my possession an original order signed by Judge Dana Blasey declaring Michael James Scott innocent, actual innocence with prejudice. He's been exonerated. And you know, there could be a lot of wailing and gnashing of the teeth and hatred, and there could be trembling and even vomiting from the fear that Michael has experienced, and these other boys that I know and personally witnessed experience. But I can tell you something, very simply. The only thing stronger than hate is love. And Mike Scott has nothing but love in his heart. And thank God for brave men and leaders like the District Attorney of Travis County, Jose Garza, and Michael Ware for the Innocence Project of Texas. Men of integrity and high values and morals. Mike Scott accepts the apology from the District Attorney of Travis County. And I can tell you this, we must learn from this and support organizations like the Innocence Project of Texas, because these things are still going on. We can't blind ourselves to that fact. As far as the future for Mike Scott and the questions that you posed about what he's going to do next, he's going to thank you all. Everybody in the community, Travis County, the state of Texas, all of the fine trial lawyers in the district attorney's office, the fine trial lawyers working with Michael Ware and the other defendants, Amber Farley and Steve Denson. And then he's going to move on.
Again, the comments there outside of the courtroom following that exoneration hearing, passionate. You can hear the pain that has come from this situation, the small, slight sense of relief, perhaps, that's come from this exoneration, but that relief mixed in still with decades of frustration and confusion. And perhaps that comment about how there are hundreds of other families across the state of Texas and the country that will not get to see a day like this from the ex-wife of one of the accused, hitting home as hard as anything here during this hearing and the press conference that followed. So a conclusion to a story that has been going on for more than 30 years, happening right here today, and we got to cover it on Live Impact News. So hopefully those individuals who were exonerated now can maybe have some semblance of a normal life where they are able to live out what they should have been able to live out 30 plus years ago. Okay, we have a piece of breaking news to bring to you right now. This was originally posted 2:19 p.m. on our website on 13 News Now. It is courtesy of the Associated Press, updated just about 10 minutes ago, 9 minutes ago. And it is news that Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger will deliver the Democratic response to President Donald Trump's State of the Union address next week. If you are familiar with State of the Unions, the sitting president will give the State of the Union, and then an official from the other side, if you will, then gives a response on national television to that State of the Union address. And Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger has been chosen to deliver that Democratic response in this particular case. This comes just months after her taking office, just months after her winning the office of governor here in Virginia, a seat that was previously held by a Republican. And that rebuttal will immediately follow Trump's address to Congress next Tuesday. It is a high-profile opportunity. And it is a message that will be heard by many in response to whatever President Donald Trump has to say in his State of the Union. So Abigail Spanberger from right here in Virginia, the governor in the Commonwealth, chosen to deliver that rebuttal. Let's see. We do have a quote here from House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries in announcing that pick of Spanberger to represent the party. She said he said she, quote, embodies the best of America as a mother, community leader, and dedicated public servant. How about Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer saying, quote, Governor Spanberger will lay out a clear path forward, lower everyday costs, protect health care, and defend the freedoms that define who we are as a nation. So, Governor Abigail Spanberger, next Tuesday following the State of the Union from President Donald Trump. We're going to stick with politics. This time, we're going to stick with the Democratic Party. We're going to talk about a race that is ongoing in Texas. The Democratic primary for the Senate seat out of Texas features a hotly contested race between Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico. It's a race that has drawn national attention because it is competitive and it features two strong candidates on the Democratic side in this primary. So Jasmine Crockett was on stage earlier today during what appeared to be sort of a free-flowing conversation for an audience, and we were able to record some of that as she's in the midst of this campaign. Let's take a listen in now on what Senate candidate Jasmine Crockett had to say.
And so there's some people that don't feel like, down south, we get it in. But when we looked at the November 4th elections, we saw that in Mississippi, they flipped 2 Senate seats. We also saw, actually recently in Louisiana, they just had a big Democratic win as well and flipped a seat in a special election. We also know that in Georgia, they had 2 statewide wins when nobody was looking, also in November. So I knew what we could do in Texas because Texas has one of the lowest voter turnouts in the entire country. We have been underinvested in, number one. Number two, the voter suppression is real. I'm sure y'all heard from Nicole a little bit earlier. We were down there in the state house. Y'all know that they locked her on the floor. That is how serious they are about this. And if your policies are so great or if the state is so red, then why is it that you would go to extremes to incarcerate people? But now that you have seen it, I think it is so much easier to say, I believe in my vote. But more importantly, people are mad. They are mad. And frankly, we don't know really how long our democracy is going to exist at this point. This literally may be, and I am not trying to be an alarmist, but I am telling y'all, it is hanging by a thread. If we don't show up now, I don't know if we will have a chance to show up. He told you when he ran, if you vote for me this time, you won't have to vote again. Right before I left D.C., what he said was, maybe we should federalize the elections. There are reports that they are planning to send ICE in November and have them intimidating voters at the polls. Y'all, this is serious. But I truly believe that I am preaching to the choir because you are showing up. But I am here to tell you that you got to push even harder. If you've already voted and you took one person, then go find another 10, 15, 20. We cannot let up now. Do not get comfortable. Do not get excited by these numbers. You cannot let up off the gas. Tarrant County, it is so important. I care about the down ballot. I'm a down ballot candidate. That's where I've always been. It's just now that I'm at the top of the ballot, y'all. The down ballot matters. You gotta have people like Nicole Collier that are gonna be there to push back in Austin. When it comes to the city, Mr. Nettles, y'all don't need him. Deborah Peoples, y'all don't need him. Now, and they city, so they're not on this ballot. But these congressional races, where they thought they were gonna steal our seats, but they drew them tight. There's a saying that goes, what they meant for evil, God meant for good. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So here it is. There were Republicans that told me on the federal level, they said, listen, to mess with the Lions. I said, well, don't tell me. Go tell them. They were concerned because they didn't know how bad it was going to be, but the last time there was a midterm with Trump, it wasn't too good for them. So they were like, we don't want to mess with them because the more you mess with them, the tighter the seats are. I truly believe that if we work collectively up and down the ballot, this can't be just top of the ballot. We have to work up and down together. If we work together, I believe that any seat that is drawn at a R+10, it is gone. I absolutely believe we will get those seats. And the good part about this election, one of the other things that makes it so unique, is for the first time since the 90s, which our last Democratic governor was a woman, just for people that don't realize that women can win statewide. Yeah. The people in the back will catch that later. Ann Richards won in the 90s. It is interesting if you know your history. There also was this, she's not electable thing. Yeah, it tends to be said about women. But nevertheless, so here it was. This is the first time since the 90s that we have people running for State House, State Senate, and U.S. House, up and down the ballot. We tend to leave over 40% of those races unfielded. That means that no one is going out and consistently engaging in conversations, and then you end up with somebody as incredible as Beto O'Rourke who has to go to all 254 counties. So we're going to work together. I just need y'all to keep pushing, keep believing, and we are going to do this. Tarrant County is going to be the story that everybody writes about. Because the Republicans are about to be mad at y'all. I just want to be clear. You know, Harris County, they still reeling about Harris County, right? I don't know if y'all heard the reports, but the governor plans to spend $90 million in Harris County alone. $90 million in that one county to try to take it back. That is what he is projected to spend. But Dallas County, they don't have it. Travis County, they don't have it. Bexar County, they don't have that. Harris County, they don't have that. But when you go down the list, the one big county that is missing is Tarrant County. But it's about to be a new day in Tarrant.
Well, and that's entirely because of you and the momentum that you've brought to this, not just this race, but to this entire state. This feels different. This is different. And so I want to ask you, you talked about the pushing still and driving, because our work isn't over, and that we've got to work together. So in Tarrant County, our median age is 35. And I was talking to my dad the other day, who's not 35, just FYI. And he said this is the first time that he's felt like he can vote for something rather than against someone. And so I would just love for you to talk about how your representation and leadership as our next senator cuts through all that division.
You know, oh man, it's a tough time in our country. I don't have to tell y'all. This race is very reminiscent of what it is for me to be in D.C. If I'm being perfectly honest, I have to fight with my colleagues a lot on my side of the aisle. And it's not that I'm not a team player, because I am. I have donated, my freshman term, it was over $600,000. After that, there's been even more money. I consistently donate all around this country. But when things are falling apart, I just don't believe that it's business as usual. And so, I push some of my colleagues a little bit more than they want to be pushed. And when Republicans decide that they are going to try to ignore the facts or twist the facts, for instance, I had a moment where I broke down in committee right after Renee Good was filled. Went into judiciary and we were doing markups for random bills. And I wasn't even gonna go to the markup because I was like, this is a waste of time. I can't believe this is what we're doing. We gotta work on some new bills because this is all messed up. And I'm like all over the place. And then the Democrats decided that what we would do is we would make markup all about Renee Good. So we went in and that's exactly what we did. But as I looked to the other side of the aisle, they had no heart, no compassion, and frankly, they were following along with this rhetoric of she was a domestic terrorist. I can't sit there and act as if this is normal. I can't sit there and act as if I should just say, okay, well, thank you, sir. Yes, this is, like, that's not what this is. We have a president right now. Do y'all understand that the president is trying to invade another country yet again without the approval of Congress? Do y'all understand how perilous things are right now in this country? So, like, I will tell you that, like, I get that for some people, it's politics as usual, and let me just go and do what I normally do. But it's not. We are unsafe, whether we are talking about the international threats that we're facing, or whether we're talking about the lack of economic security that we have as our economy is shrinking, as we have lost over 1 million jobs in just 1 year and counting, and I don't know who's doing the counting because he don't want to do the reports no more. At the same time as literal federal officers are killing people in broad daylight, and there is no accountability.
Okay, back here in the studio, Jasmine Crockett speaking to an assembled crowd there in the midst of a heated race for the Democratic nomination to run for a Senate seat in Texas. It's a hotly contested race, one that we'll keep an eye on. Now, something else we've been keeping an eye on is that weather outside. We told you it was gloomy, but it is also extremely foggy in some parts of Hampton Roads. Now, what am I looking at, Connor? What is this? Did you transported me inside of a cloud? Essentially, yes. Fog is clouds that have made their way to the surface. That is the Virginia Beach oceanfront. You can see the sand at the bottom of your screen, but absolutely no luck seeing the horizon. If you've ever seen when we have a clear day and we show this viewpoint, you can see all the way out into the ocean, all the way down the boardwalk, all the hotels lining the right side. Today, you can't see any of that. Completely obstructed by the fog. It is quite foggy out there in Virginia Beach. Not too bad here in Norfolk. Elsewhere in Hampton Roads, a little bit more fog. It just kind of depends on where you are. But a gloomy day and hopefully a brighter one tomorrow. And we hope to see all of you tomorrow on Live Impact News. Thanks for joining us.